It was a world of secret radios, German generals, and the most daring escape plans ever televised. But as the curtains closed on Allo Allo in 1992, a new chapter began for its iconic stars. Some soared to new heights, while others vanished from the spotlight entirely. Witness the passage of time in this emotional tribute to the heroes of the resistance. The final update will leave you absolutely speechless. Gordon Kaye as René Artois. Born on April 7, 1941, in Huddersfield, Yorkshire, the comedic actor landed the role that would define his entire career in the BBC sitcom Allo Allo. At the age of 41, Kaye introduced audiences to the beleaguered French cafe owner René Artois in the show's pilot episode. His portrayal of the cowardly, womanizing, yet lovable, reluctant hero became the anchor of the series, turning catchphrases like, "You stupid woman," into cultural staples. For 9 series and a successful stage run, his ability to break the fourth wall and share his exasperation with the audience made the show a massive international hit and firmly established his status as a comedy icon. Despite playing a character who was a confident Lothario constantly juggling affairs with waitresses, Gordon Kaye was a shy gay man who guarded his privacy fiercely. The contrast between his life and his art became a source of public scrutiny when he was outed by the tabloids, a stressful event for a man who preferred a quiet existence. His professional life faced a near-tragic interruption in 1990 during the Burnsday storm, when a piece of wooden advertising hoarding smashed through his car windscreen, causing severe brain injuries. While he miraculously recovered to complete the series, he later admitted that the accident changed his personality and confidence, and he struggled with the heavy typecasting that followed the show's conclusion, finding it difficult to be seen as anyone other than René. Gordon Kaye largely retired from acting after the show ended, living a solitary life and rarely appearing in public, though he did reprise his role one last time for a 2007 reunion special. His later years were marked by a battle with dementia, and he spent his final time in a care home in Knaresborough. Kaye passed away on January 23, 2017, at the age of 75 from kidney failure. His death was mourned by fans and former castmates alike, bringing a quiet, close to the life of a man who had brought chaotic joy to millions, leaving the bulk of his estate to forgotten actors rather than family, a final testament to his unique and private nature. Vicky Michelle as Yvette Carte Blanche. Born on December 14, 1950, in Chigwell, Essex, she landed the role that would define her career in the BBC sitcom Allo Allo. At the age of 32, when the pilot first aired, Michelle's portrayal of the head waitress and illicit love interest became an instant sensation. Her breathy, growling delivery of "Ooh, René," and her impeccably timed physical comedy anchored the show's farcical take on occupied France. For 9 series and over a decade of associated stage tours, she became a British sex symbol and a central figure in one of the UK's most successful and globally exported TV comedies. Despite the character's obsession with romance and her caricature of French promiscuity, Vicky Michelle maintained a stable and grounded personal life, having been married to the same man, Graham Fowler, since before the show began. However, the immense popularity of Yvette brought the inevitable professional hurdle of typecasting. For years following the show's conclusion in 1992, casting directors struggled to see past the French accent and the waitress uniform, making it difficult for her to secure diverse dramatic roles. While she embraced the character's legacy, the industry often pigeonholed her, creating a long period where she had to fight to be recognized for her versatility beyond the specific comedic niche of the sitcom world. Vicky Michelle persevered through the industry's narrow view, reinventing herself through reality television stage performances and soap operas. She competed in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here in 2014, and later secured recurring roles in major soaps like Emmerdale and EastEnders, proving her dramatic capabilities to a new generation. She was also appointed a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, for her extensive services to charity. As of 2026, at the age of 75, she remains an active and beloved figure in the entertainment industry, hosting weekly radio shows and continuing to perform on screen and stage, having successfully navigated the transition from sitcom icon to respected veteran actress. Arthur Bostrom as Officer Crabtree. Born on January 6, 1955 in Rugby, Warwickshire, he joined the cast of the hit BBC sitcom Allo Allo during its second series. At the age of 30, Bostrom introduced audiences to the bumbling undercover British flight posing as a French gendarme. His character became instantly legendary for his atrocious pronunciation of the French language, turning phrases like "good morning" into the iconic catchphrase "good moaning." This linguistic mangling became a comedic staple of the series, cementing Crabtree as a beloved figure in British pop culture and contributing heavily to the show's enduring popularity across 9 series. The contrast between the actor and the role was stark and ironic. While Officer Crabtree could barely utter a coherent sentence in French, Arthur Bostrom is in reality a highly educated graduate of Durham University and a fluent French speaker. Playing a character defined by stupidity and linguistic incompetence required him to suppress his own intelligence and genuine language skills, a unique challenge that required precise comedic timing. Following the show's conclusion in 1992, Bostrom faced the inevitable difficulty of typecasting that plagued many of the show's ensemble cast. Shedding the persona of the inept policeman proved difficult, limiting his opportunities in serious drama for years and forcing him to navigate a career where he was perpetually recognized primarily for his comedic mispronunciations. Arthur Bostrom successfully pivoted into voice acting, writing, and stage work, notably becoming a regular contributor to the Big Finish Doctor Who audio dramas and embracing the nostalgia circuit rather than resenting it. He authored the book Good Moaning France Officer Crabtree's Frontiers of French, leaning into the humor that made him famous. As of 2026, at the age of 71, he remains active in the entertainment industry and continues to appear at fan conventions where he is celebrated as one of the surviving core members of the classic sitcom. He resides in Manchester and maintains a reputation as a gracious and articulate ambassador for the show that defined his career. Richard Gibson as Herr Otto Flick. Born on January 1, 1954 in Kampala, Uganda, the actor found his defining role in the BBC wartime sitcom parody Allo Allo. At the age of 28, Gibson's portrayal of the sinister yet inept Gestapo officer Herr Otto Flick became an instant classic, satirizing history's darkest figures with absurdity and slapstick. For 8 series, his deadpan delivery, exaggerated limp, and relentless obsession with the fallen Madonna with the big boobies made him a fan favorite, cementing the character as a distinct cultural icon of British comedy. While Herr Flick was a cold, emotionless, and stiff-legged caricature, Richard Gibson was known off-screen for his warmth and distinct lack of tyrannical tendencies. This stark contrast highlighted his acting ability but also contributed to significant professional hurdles. The character was so distinctive and visually specific that Gibson struggled with severe typecasting. Fearful of being permanently pigeonholed, he made the difficult decision to leave the show before its final season, a move driven by the need to find varied work. Yet he found that the specter of the trench-coated Gestapo officer loomed over his career long after he hung up the leather costume. Richard Gibson eventually embraced the legacy of the show, participating in successful stage tours and fan conventions, though he also pivoted his career away from the screen for a time to work as a sub-editor and sports data journalist. He remained active in the entertainment circuit through niche appearances and reunions, with former castmates maintaining a fond connection with the fanbase that adored his villainous role. As of 2026, at the age of 72, he is living a quieter life away from the intense glare of mainstream television, occasionally celebrating the enduring popularity of the sitcom that made him famous. Kim Hartman as Private Helga Gerhardt. Born on January 11, 1952, in Hammersmith, London, she began her career in theatre, before landing the role that would define her career in the BBC sitcom Allo Allo. At the age of 30, Hartman's portrayal of the severe shouting yet curiously amorous Private Helga Gerhardt became an instant comedic classic. As the stoic secretary to Colonel von Strohm and the erratic lover of the Gestapo officer Herr Flick, she navigated the show's farce and innuendo with impeccable timing. For 9 series, her ability to switch instantly between a terrifying Teutonic bark and a sultry whisper made her a cultural icon of 1980s British television. Despite the character's cold, militaristic, and domineering persona, Kim Hartman is known in reality as a warm, giggly, and gentle individual, presenting a stark contrast to the severe German private she played. This dichotomy showcased her acting range, yet the immense popularity of the show became a double-edged sword. Like many of her co-stars, Hartman faced the professional struggle of intense typecasting. The industry found it difficult to see her as anything other than the uniformed Helga. Following the show's conclusion in 1992, breaking away from such a distinctive and caricature-heavy role proved to be a significant challenge in securing diverse dramatic work. Kim Hartman continued to find success in the years following the sitcom, notably landing a recurring role as Mrs. Rawlinson in the long-running series Grange Hill from 2005 to 2008. She also embraced her connection to Allo Allo, reprising her role in stage productions and appearing alongside her co-star Richard Gibson Herr Flick at various memorabilia conventions and events, much to the delight of fans. As of 2026, at the age of 74, she is enjoying a quieter life while maintaining her status as a beloved comedy legend, occasionally making public appearances to celebrate the enduring legacy of the show that made her a household name. Guy Seiner as Lieutenant Hubert Gruber. Born on October 16, 1947, in Manhattan, New York City, the American-born British actor first donned the German uniform for the pilot of Allo Allo in 1982. At the age of 35, Seiner's portrayal of Lieutenant Hubert Gruber, the sensitive, art-loving officer with a persistent, unrequited crush on the cafe owner, became an instant comedic classic. His performance navigated the delicate balance of making a member of the occupying forces sympathetic and lovable, contributing to a show that became one of the BBC's most successful global exports, and a cultural phenomenon of the 1980s and 90s. While Gruber was defined by his camp demeanor and heavy insinuations regarding his sexuality, Guy Seiner is a heterosexual man who brought a nuanced dignity to the role. A profound contrast had existed in his background. Seiner is of Jewish heritage, creating a unique irony in his portrayal of a German officer during World War II, a fact he often discussed with pride regarding the show's ability to mock the absurdity of the Third Reich. Like many of his co-stars, Seiner faced the double-edged sword of sitcom fame. The immense global popularity of Allo Allo resulted in significant typecasting, making it challenging for him to secure diverse roles immediately following the show's conclusion in 1992, as casting directors struggled to see him as anyone other than the lieutenant with the little tank. Guy Seiner has maintained a steady and varied career across both the United Kingdom and the United States, lending his voice to major franchises like Star Wars, video games, and appearing in films such as Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. He also holds the rare distinction of having appeared in both the Doctor Who franchise in Genesis of the Daleks and the Star Trek universe Enterprise. As of 2026, at the age of 78, he remains active in the industry and heavily involved on the convention circuit, where he continues to be celebrated by a devoted fan base that spans generations, happily embracing the enduring legacy of Hubert Gruber. Carmen Silvera as Edith Artois. Born on June 2, 1922 in Toronto, Canada, she moved to the United Kingdom as a child and eventually pursued a career in acting. At the age of 60, Silvera achieved international fame when she first appeared as the melodramatic and spectacularly tone-deaf cabaret singer Edith Artois in the pilot of Allo Allo. Her portrayal of the nagging, gullible wife of cafe owner René became a cultural phenomenon, particularly known for her excruciatingly off-key renditions of songs like La Vie en Rose that would drive customers away. Over the course of the show's decade-long run, her comedic performance defined the series, making Edith one of the most recognizable matriarchs in British sitcom history. There was a profound contrast between the character and the woman who played her. While Edith was depicted as dowdy, frantic, and lacking in self-awareness, Carmen Silvera was known in real life as a gracious, elegant, and highly sophisticated woman. Mastering the role was a technical challenge, as she possessed a capable singing voice and had to work diligently to perfect Edith's signature inability to hold a tune. Her career, however, was impacted by the double-edged sword of sitcom fame. The overwhelming popularity of the character led to severe typecasting, and after the show concluded, she faced the professional struggle of distancing herself from the persona of Madame Artois to secure varied, dramatic work. Carmen Silvera continued to perform on stage and television in her later years, including touring with the stage version of Allo Allo and appearing in the 2001 comedy Revolver. She remained a private individual who never married and was a lifelong heavy smoker, a habit that eventually took a toll on her health. She spent her final days at Denville Hall, a retirement home for actors. Carmen Silvera passed away on August 3, 2002, at the age of 80 as a result of lung cancer. She is remembered fondly by fans worldwide, with her performances ensuring her place in the pantheon of comedy legends. Kirsten Cook as Michelle Dubois. Born on October 4, 1952 in Cuckfield, Sussex, the British actress trained at the Webber Douglas Academy of Dramatic Art before landing the defining role of her career. At the age of 30, Cook stepped into the trench coat of Michelle of the Resistance Dubois in the pilot for Allo Allo. Her portrayal of the hardened, nonsensical, and perpetually stern resistance leader became an instant comedic classic, anchored by her delivery of one of television's most famous catchphrases, "Listen very carefully, I shall say this only once." For the next decade, her character served as the straight-faced foil to the show's farce, cementing her place in British sitcom history. While Michelle Dubois was recognized for her unwavering severity and lack of a sense of humor, Kirsten Cook was known off-screen for a much warmer and more jovial demeanor. This contrast highlighted her acting ability, yet the immense popularity of the show became a double-edged sword. Like many of her co-stars, Cook faced the professional hardship of severe typecasting. The industry struggled to see her as anything other than the French resistance leader. Consequently, despite her dramatic training and talent, she found it difficult to secure diverse roles following the show's conclusion in 1992, as the caricature of Michelle overshadowed her other capabilities. Kirsten Cook continued to work sporadically in television, including a recurring role in the series Down to Earth in the early 2000s and guest appearances in children's television, but she largely shifted her focus toward her family life. She was married to Dr. Brent Verdon until his passing, raising their 4 children away from the limelight. As of 2026, at the age of 73, she is largely retired from the screen, living a quiet life in West Sussex. While she no longer actively pursues new roles, she occasionally engages with the enduring fanbase of Allo Allo through reunions and retrospectives, embracing the legacy of the character that defined her career. Francesca Gonshaw as Maria Recamier. Born on November 25, 1959 in London, England, the actress joined the cast of the pilot episode that launched one of the BBC's most enduring sitcoms. At the age of 23, Ganshaw began her portrayal of Maria, the petite and passionate waitress at Café René, known for her recurring gag of spitting whenever she whispered secret information. Her character became an integral part of the show's early success, contributing to a cultural phenomenon that parodied war dramas with slapstick humor and double entendres, making her a recognizable face in British households during the mid-1980s. However, the reality of playing Maria stood in stark contrast to Ganshaw's artistic ambitions. She found the role limiting, describing the character as one-dimensional, and expressing frustration that the female roles were treated merely as sexy props, without room for development. This dissatisfaction led to a significant professional struggle, the decision to walk away from a guaranteed hit. She left Allo Allo after 3 series to avoid being permanently typecast, a move that brought its own hardships. While she landed a serious role in the drama series Howard's Way, the stigma of her comedy role lingered, and she eventually found the acting landscape difficult to navigate, leading her to retire from performing in the early 1990s. Francesca Ganshaw successfully pivoted to a career behind the scenes, establishing herself in the publishing and film industries rather than relying on the nostalgia circuit. She worked as a literary agent and eventually became the senior vice president of acquisitions at Miramax Books and Rights, playing a significant role in the film adaptation of literary works. She has largely distanced herself from her acting past, rarely appearing in reunions or conventions. As of 2026, at the age of 66, she is living a private life in London, focusing on her work within the visual arts and gallery curation. Sue Hodge as Mimi LeBlanc. Born on June 4, 1957 in Orsett, Essex, the diminutive British actress joined the cast of the BBC's hit wartime sitcom Allo Allo during its 4th series in 1987. At the age of 30, Hodge stepped into the show to replace a departing cast member, taking on the role of Mimi LeBlanc, the fierce and vertically challenged waitress of the French Resistance. Her portrayal of the pocket-sized bodyguard who harbored a secret passion for the café owner René Artois and a violent hatred for the occupying forces revitalized the ensemble dynamic. She quickly became a fan favorite, proving that her small stature belied a massive comedic presence that helped sustain the show's popularity until its conclusion. While Mimi LeBlanc was a bloodthirsty gun-toting revolutionary ready to kill at a moment's notice, Sue Hodge is known in reality as a bubbly, warm, and gentle entertainer. Stepping into an established hit show to replace a popular character was a daunting professional challenge, requiring her to win over a skeptical audience immediately. Furthermore, her career faced the distinct struggle of typecasting due to her height. Standing only 4 feet 9 inches tall often limited the dramatic roles available to her, pigeonholing her into specific comedic or pantomime parts. Following the show's finale in 1992, she faced the difficulty of navigating an industry that often struggled to see past her iconic persona as the feisty waitress. Sue Hodge has spent much of her later career embracing the legacy of the show that made her famous, touring with her husband, musician Keith Paddington Richards, in a stage show titled Mimi's Memoirs. She remained a beloved figure on the nostalgia circuit, frequently attending memorabilia conventions to meet fans of the classic sitcom. As of 2026, at the age of 68, she is living in Lincoln, England, where she continues to perform and celebrate her time in Nouvion, having successfully transitioned from a television star to a cherished custodian of British comedy history. Sam Kelly as Captain Hans Geering. Born on December 19, 1943 in Salford, Lancashire, the talented character actor joined the ensemble cast of the pilot for Allo Allo in 1982. At the age of 38, Kelly introduced audiences to Captain Hans Geering, the somewhat incompetent and reluctant assistant to Colonel von Strom. His portrayal became instantly iconic, particularly for his hurried and apathetic Heil Hitler salute, which he brilliantly condensed into the high-pitched catchphrase, Tler. This comedic invention allowed him to make a German officer sympathetic and hilarious, turning Gearing into a cultural standout during the sitcom's early high-rating years. Despite playing a uniformed officer of the Third Reich, Sam Kelly was a gentle, introspective man who contrasted sharply with the authoritarian absurdity of his character. While the role brought him fame, it also presented a professional dilemma. Kelly was wary of the repetitive nature of sitcom work and the trap of being defined by a single catchphrase. In a move that surprised fans and colleagues, he voluntarily left the hit show after just 3 series, fearing the character had run its course. This decision brought its own challenges, as he had to work hard to shake off the Nazi association and prove his versatility to casting directors who only saw him as the bumbling captain. Sam Kelly successfully forged a diverse career after leaving the show, becoming a fixture on British television with major roles in sitcoms like On the Up and Barbara, and later starring as the Wizard in the West End production of Wicked. He kept his private life away from the spotlight, focusing entirely on his craft until his health began to decline. Sam Kelly passed away on June 14, 2014, at the age of 70, following a battle with cancer. His death was met with deep sadness from the acting community, particularly his former Allo Allo co-stars, who remembered him as a generous friend and a comedic genius who left an indelible mark on television comedy. Richard Marner as Colonel Kurt von Strom. Born on September 23, 1921 in Petrograd, Russia, the actor-born Alexander Molchanov had a long career playing serious villains before landing his most famous comedic role. At the age of 61, Marner's portrayal of the bumbling, cake-obsessed German commandant in Allo Allo became a comedic staple, transforming a potential antagonist into a sympathetic, lovable rogue. For 9 series, his depiction of the corrupt officer who was more interested in hiding stolen paintings inside knockwurst sausages and chasing waitresses than fighting the war anchored the show's farcical look at occupied France and cemented his place in British sitcom history. Despite playing a German officer, Richard Marner was actually of Russian noble descent and a polyglot who spoke 4 languages fluently, standing in sharp contrast to the clumsy and often dim-witted character of Colonel von Strom. While the colonel was defined by his incompetence and cowardice, Marner was known by his colleagues as a gentle, intelligent, and highly professional, gentle giant. His career prior to the sitcom was heavily defined by the struggle of being typecast as the foreign villain or menacing heavy in films like The African Queen, making his late career turn as a beloved comedic figure a refreshing departure from the stereotypical roles he was historically forced into due to his accent and stature. Richard Marner continued to act sporadically following the conclusion of the sitcom, with his final major film appearance fittingly casting him as the President of Russia in the 2002 movie The Sum of All Fears. He spent his final years living quietly in Scotland with his wife, actress Pauline Farr. Richard Marner passed away in Perth, Scotland on March 18, 2004, at the age of 82, following a bout of pneumonia. He left behind a legacy as one of the most recognizable faces of 1980s British comedy, remembered affectionately by fans and castmates alike for bringing warmth to a role that could have easily been one-dimensional. Hilary Minster as General Erich von Klinkerhoffen. Born on March 21, 1944 in Epsom, Surrey, the English character actor found his most enduring fame within the chaos of the BBC's wartime sitcom parody. At the age of 40, Minster began his tenure as the commanding and often stern General Erich von Klinkerhoffen. His portrayal struck a perfect balance between menacing authority and camp absurdity, making the general a standout figure who frequently threatened to have the other characters shot. He became an integral part of the ensemble, embodying the show's unique ability to find farce in the darkest of settings, and remained with the series until its conclusion. While he played the arrogant, loud, and decisive general to perfection, Hilary Minster was known in reality as a quiet, gentle, and polite man, contrasting sharply with his on-screen persona. Despite the show's massive popularity, he faced the familiar struggle of typecasting that plagued many British character actors of the era. Having frequently played German officers in productions like Secret Army and Doctor Who, prior to Allo Allo, breaking away from this specific mold proved difficult. Following the conclusion of the series in 1992, he found substantial acting roles hard to come by, a professional lull that often accompanies long-running sitcom fame. Hilary Minster's post-sitcom career was regrettably short, as his health began to decline later in the decade. He provided voiceover work and made minor appearances, but he never secured another major recurring role to rival the general. Tragically, his life was cut short just 7 years after the sitcom ended. Minster passed away in London on November 24, 1999, at the age of 55, after a battle with cancer. His premature death shocked fans and former cast members alike, marking him as one of the first main stars of the beloved series to pass away, leaving behind a legacy defined by his commanding comedic presence. Kenneth Connor, as Monsieur Alphonse, born on June 6, 1918 in London, the veteran comedic actor joined the cast of the BBC sitcom Allo Allo in 1984 for its first full series. At the age of 66, Connor's portrayal of the Belgian undertaker Monsieur Alphonse became an instant classic within the ensemble. Known for his swift hearse, his unrequited love for Madame Edith, and his recurring catchphrase regarding his dicky ticker, he brought a masterclass in physical comedy and timing to the role. His performance turned a supporting character into a cultural favorite, adding a layer of farcical medical drama to the show's wartime parody. While Monsieur Alphonse was a flamboyant, overconfident suitor, constantly fainting from the thrill of romance, Kenneth Connor was a quiet, disciplined, and intensely professional stage actor. His career was defined and at times confined by his extensive tenure in the Carry On film franchise, where he famously played neurotic, henpecked men. This association led to significant typecasting struggles, making it difficult for him to be taken seriously in dramatic roles despite his theatrical background. Even joining Allo Allo was a return to the specific brand of British farce he had helped define, requiring him to lean into the comedic persona audiences expected rather than exploring the wider range of characters he was capable of playing. Kenneth Connor remained active in the industry until the very end of his life, completing his work on Allo Allo when the series finished in 1992. His final television appearance was in an episode of The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, which was broadcast posthumously. He passed away at his home in Harrow, London on November 28, 1993, at the age of 75 after a battle with cancer. His death occurred just a year after the sitcom ended, marking the loss of a comedy legend whose work bridged the gap between the music hall era and modern television sitcoms. Jack Haig as Monsieur Roger Leclerc. Born on January 5, 1913 in London, England. Jack Haig was a seasoned music hall veteran long before he donned his beret for the French Resistance. At the age of 69, he first portrayed Monsieur Roger Leclerc in the pilot of Allo Allo, instantly creating one of the show's most beloved running gags. His character, an elderly forger and pianist who believed himself to be a master of disguise despite being instantly recognizable, became a cultural icon of British farce. With his signature catchphrase, "It is I, Leclerc," accompanied by a dramatic lifting of his glasses, Haig cemented his place in television history, turning brief appearances into comedic gold. While Roger Leclerc was depicted as a delusional and incompetent buffoon who could barely play the piano, Jack Haig was a highly skilled and disciplined performer, with roots deep in the vaudeville tradition. The contrast between the actor and the role was stark. Haig was a consummate professional known for his reliability and timing, unlike the dithering character he played. His career was marked by the grind of a working character actor, often typecast as eccentric elderly figures in productions like Crossroads and Dad's Army. Despite his extensive resume, achieving his greatest fame so late in life presented its own challenges, as he had to maintain the physical energy required for farce while battling declining health. Jack Haig passed away on July 4, 1989, at the age of 76, succumbing to stomach cancer just days after being hospitalized. His death occurred between the 5th and 6th series of Allo Allo, creating a sudden void in the cast that forced the writers to introduce a new character, Leclerc's brother Ernest, to fill the comedic space he left behind. Although he never saw the show's conclusion, his portrayal remains definitive, and he is remembered as a comic genius whose ability to evoke laughter with a simple catchphrase defined an era of British sitcoms. It is remarkable how the cast of Allo Allo managed to find light in the darkest of settings, creating a legacy that transcends generations. While many of these faces have aged or left us, their spirit lives on in every rewatch. Reflecting on their journey reminds us to cherish the legends who shaped our childhood. If this trip down memory lane touched your heart, please give this video a like and follow us for more cast reunions.